退場していただき助かりました。しかし凄腕の殺し屋であるあなたにまさかこんな温かい家庭があろうとは。
それだこの心情に怒るだろうな。お前は違う。わかんないな。
お父ちゃんが
来ない。
Spoiler warning, Demon City ending isn't just shocking, it's a lie. Buckle up, because this breakdown will rewrite everything you thought you knew. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a feared gangster who once ruled the city with an iron fist. However, his reign is coming to an end as a new gang emerges, spreading terror at an alarming rate. Enraged by this news, the gangster violently silences the informant by thrusting a knife through his mouth, a brutal display of his lingering dominance. Outside the gangster's house, Sagata appears, climbing up a terrace pipe to launch his attack. Engaging in a fierce battle, he overpowers the gangster's men, using their own bodies as weapons. As he ascends the stairs, throwing a dead bodyguard onto the guards below, the commotion alerts the gangster to the imminent threat. Attempting to escape, the gangster rushes to his car, only to find his driver dead. Desperate, he retrieves a gun from his room, but before he can act, Sagata storms in. A brutal fight ensues with the gangster's right-hand man, who skillfully delays Sagata using any object within reach. As the battle intensifies, the gangster seizes a sharp weapon and attempts to end Sagata's life, but Sagata retaliates by slicing his attacker's hand. In the chaos, the gangster mistakenly shoots his own ally, ultimately sealing his fate. With the gang's leader dead, Sagata eliminates the remaining members one by one. However, as he stands victorious, an unseen assailant fires a bullet at him from behind. The shooter is revealed to be Fujita, Sagata's employer, who runs a security agency that hires skilled assassins to dismantle criminal organizations. Fujita, however, informs Sagata that his work is far from over, but Sagata refuses. He longs to retire and spend time with his family. Sagata returns home to his small but happy family, consisting of his wife and daughter Dio. As he steps into the shower, he hears disturbing noises outside. Rushing out, he finds his home invaded by masked men who have taken his family hostage. The gang leader commends Sagata for eliminating the Yahoja gang, which made it easier for them to take control of the city. However, they see him as a threat, fearing he could do the same to them. T.O. make a statement. One of the gangsters grabs Dio. Furious, Sagata attempts to fight back, but another gangster shoots a subordinate to warn him against resistance. Forced to comply, Sagata watches helplessly as the gang brutally assaults him. Dio pleads for them to spare her father, but her cries fall on deaf ears. Enraged by the wife's wailing, a gangster shoots and kills her. In a heartbreaking moment, Dio is also executed, leaving Sagata utterly broken. As his world crumbles, the gang finally shoots him and departs, leaving no evidence of their presence. When the police arrive, they conclude that Sagata, in a fit of madness, killed his own family before taking his own life. The tragedy makes headlines, but time moves on. 12 years later, the city's mayor, Sanahara, holds a press conference, boasting about how he turned a crime-ridden city into a thriving metropolis. A reporter, however, challenges him, pointing out the numerous disappearances over the past decade, including a man who was building a resort on the very land where Sanahara's mall now stands. Dismissing the claims as slander, Sanahara silences the reporter despite the evidence he holds. Meanwhile, the shocking truth is revealed: Sagata is still alive, but he is a shadow of his former self, paralyzed and unable to walk or speak. He is under the care of Fujita, who harbors deep guilt over Sagata's fate. A man assigned to look after Sagata takes him on routine walks, feeds him, and helps him move. However, one day, as they return home, they are ambushed by a figure from the past, the Yahoja gang member whose hand Sagata had severed. Seeking revenge, the man stabs Sagata in the arm, but the once mighty warrior is in no condition to fight back. Elsewhere, the persistent reporter continues his investigation into Sanahara's crimes. He meets a disfigured man who once suffered at the hands of the Yahoja gang and knows the city's dark secrets. As the reporter gathers intel on Sanahara's corrupt dealings, a masked man suddenly smashes his car window. In a chilling moment, the masked figure shoots the informant, killing him instantly. Fujita, haunted by his past, recalls how he had once betrayed Sagata's family to the gang. His guilt has kept him devoted to Sagata's care, but the weight of his sins never leaves him to the hospital. A police officer approaches Sagata. As soon as he enters the room, he dons a mask, revealing himself as a member of the Kamangami gang, the same group that massacred Sagata's family. His sinister intent is clear as he prepares to inject poison into Sagata's fore. But Sagata, despite his paralysis, is fueled by a burning desire for vengeance. Mustering every ounce of strength, he pulls out his fore, drops to the floor, and attacks the officer. However, weakened by years of immobility, he soon faints. Other officers enter the room, and one of them, upon seeing his superior in a mask, realizes the truth. But before he can react, the masked officer kills him. The other officers, complicit in the gang's dealings, say nothing. Meanwhile, Sagata regains consciousness. With sheer determination, he overpowers the masked officer, strangling him with a bedsheet and pushing another enemy out the window. As the fight concludes, Fujita arrives, stunned to see Sagata standing on his own. Determined to reclaim his past, Sagata begins his rampage. He infiltrates a drug factory, brutally taking down guards and assassins. The factory workers, forced into labor, watch as he systematically eliminates the gang members. However, he soon faces a dangerous opponent wielding a crane to attack him. Sagata narrowly avoids death, countering with a deadly knife throw. Despite sustaining injuries, he continues his relentless assault. The final revelation comes when Sagata uncovers the identity of the mastermind behind it all, Mayor Sanahara. The corrupt politician confesses that his legitimate earnings fund the city's development, while his gang ensures his power remains unchallenged. He warns Sagata that dismantling his empire will have dire consequences. Unmoved, Sagata executes the last of Sanahara's men and disappears into the night. The news reports claim that Sagata died in an explosion, but a shocking twist unfolds. Rio, his daughter, is alive. She was raised by the Kamangami gang and now believes that Sagata is a monster. Meanwhile, Sagata, now hidden with an old police ally, learns the truth. The gang had not killed his daughter, but had instead murdered her twin. Determined to reunite with Rio, Sagata arms himself and storms the security agency where she is held. The fight reaches its climax as Rio, now fully remembering her father, returns to his side. Sagata's strength falters, but his resolve does not waver. Will he finally claim justice, or will his enemies prevail once more? The story hurtles toward its breathtaking conclusion, where fate, revenge, and redemption intertwine in a final act of reckoning. Think you could survive Demon City World? Tag a friend who'd fail miserably. Winking Face, don't forget to subscribe, unless you're scared of the truth. Thanks for watching.